Andrew Cuomo is a bad dude. And we know that when he made awful decisions that got elderly people in nursing homes sick with COVID and they died as a result. We knew that when it was reported that 11 different women had accused him of sexual harassment, and that was confirmed by a state attorney general's report. Now we find that he has abandoned his dog. That's it, he's abandoned his dog, okay? He has stepped down, he has resigned from his post, and he's left his dog behind because the dog apparently has already served its PR purposes and he no longer needs the dog, okay? What kind of monster leaves the dog behind? Now, his spokesperson is like, how dare you guys lie? How dare you? He's going on vacation and he just needed someone to look after the dog while he was away. But when he comes back, he's gonna take that dog back. He's gonna definitely watch that dog. He cares about that dog so much.
Yeah, not true.
Yeah.
So because there's reports coming out, and by the way, these are reporters that used to take leaks from Cuomo all the time. So they're not people who are quote unquote against Cuomo. There's no conspiracy against Cuomo. He actually did all of these things, right? And now that he's lost power, they're actually reporting things that he does. Ironically, he actually used one of these reporters to leak a story about a Republican opponent of his once and how he handled a dog.
Amazing.
Oops.
Amazing.
How's that for karma coming back to bite you, if you will? And so that's actually part of the story because they're saying that the dog is unruly. I don't know what it is about establishment Democrats and their dogs that bite people, but he's apparently a nibbler of some sort.
Nibbler sounds really cute.
Yeah, depends on your taste, I guess. And is a dog eat dog world? Okay, we're moving on. So Cuomo is apparently staying with one of his sisters, and I don't know if they can't take the dog in, whatever it is. They say that one of the staffers took the dog for a couple of days, but brought it back because the dog is
a nibbler,
a nibbler of sorts. But I tell you all of that not to blame the dog, but to tell you, no, he was definitely leaving it behind.
Totally.
No, he asked staffers, according to every report on it, does anybody want this thing? And so look, if you have an animal that's causing trouble and it's heartbreaking, but you've got to reach some sort of conclusion on it, it happens, it does happen, okay? But this is not that, because as Anna said from the get-go, he was using the dog for optics, for politics. So he's taking the pictures with the dog, holding him, even though he's a nibbler back in the day.
Yeah, okay, no, I must jump in right now, okay? A dog is not a prop, okay? And a dog, if you're not going to actually be a caretaker for the dog, meaning you're not gonna take the time to train the dog and actually care for the dog, then you can't turn around and say like, oh, the dog's got behavioral issues. No, when you get a puppy, just like human babies, they're uncivilized animals, right? Like you have to train them.
Uncivilized animals.
No, okay, but here I'll give you an example.
It's true though. Yes.
Kids, like babies, as they get a little bit older, they tend to like hit you, right? Yeah. Like I've noticed that with all my nieces. Like once they get to like 1.5, like I'll carry them, play with them. They think it's really funny to slap me in the face, right? And
are you sure it's because they're not salty?
Well, it could be. I mean, they are part of my family, right? It's in the genes. No, but like it's a thing that happens with kids, and you have to like teach them, no, don't hit, blah blah blah, because we're animals, much like dogs. Dogs are animals; they have to be trained, and so if you're not caring for the animal and you're just using it as a prop, you can't then turn around and be like, oh, it's got behavioral issues. F off. Like, don't get a dog if you're not going to be serious about loving that animal. You know, people think that it's cute to use dogs as props, and it's not just politicians. I see celebrities doing it as well. These are loving, intelligent animals, and to treat them like that, I think is just absolutely wrong.
Yeah. So now, that's true, but I think you actually sent me an article a while back. We were thinking of doing a story about someone who had an issue like this, but the dog was actually dangerous.
Yeah.
And it broke her heart to bring the dog back, but she really had no choice.
So there are different scenarios. In that scenario, it was someone who had adopted a dog.
Right.
And it turns out that the dog did have behavioral issues. She had brought in multiple trainers and they just couldn't find a solution. So I'm not arguing that situations like that don't exist. But in this situation, it does appear as though the dog was used as a prop from the very beginning. And if you're not gonna give your pet the love and care that it deserves, you can't then turn around and be like, oh, I don't know, it has a nibbling problem, and so I'm not interested. I gave it to one of my staffers, and now my staffer has an issue with it. No, don't take your problem and just shift it over to your staffer, okay?
Yeah.
Be an adult. If you were using the dog as a prop, just like take some ownership, take some responsibility for your actions. You know what I'm saying?
Well, when has Cuomo ever done that?
Right, that's a good point.
Which is why this story, while being kind of a rando story on his way out, is also emblematic of his career. And so again, I just want to separate out the two issues. Leaving your dog behind has all the issues that Anna's talking about. And did you go through did you try everything? Do you care about the dog at all, et cetera, right? But then the secondary issue, and more relevant, of course, in the terms of politics, is he just wanted it as a mascot, right? And so he never cared about it. And so everything he does was for optics. And the press always played along. And so, and when he wanted to smear his opponent because of a dog issue, then they played along with that, and they played along with everything. And now that he's lost power, all of a sudden he's shocked and chagrined to find out the press aren't his pets anymore.
I want to go to this tweet by Liz Mayer, who I will admit is a little hyperbolic here and tone deaf, I will say, considering everything else that Cuomo has done. She argues that this may be the most thing Cuomo has ever done. I mean, he sexually harassed and like sexually assaulted women who worked for him. I mean, and he got elderly people in nursing homes killed with his awful decisions during the pandemic. I love dogs, but just calm down. What a complete, she continues.
Oh, nobody's disagreeing with that part, but look, that's why I get so frustrated, because corruption has so much real world consequences. So Andrew Cuomo shut down the Moreland Commission, which was investigating corruption, once it started investigating him, and particularly his real estate donors. Those donors have driven up prices all over New York and have driven people out of their homes, causing misery for thousands of people, if not millions of people. And so, but now people can focus because it's about a dog. And let's keep it real. There's two things that always capture people's attention, rightly or wrongly, or proportionately or disproportionately. One is sex, and the other one is dogs and cats, okay? If you abuse the pet in any way, people will hate you forever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're an angel or you were already Beelzebub, but no one cared, right? And if you have sexual issues, you're a goner, okay? And that's not just true of voters, it's more true of the media. Like, oh, corruption, where he takes bribes, legalized bribes, and then serves his donors, and all the voters of New York get screwed. Boring.
Right.
Yes, but what did he do sexually, and what did he do with his pets? And that's part of why this has become such a ironically huge story. And it doesn't.
Has it become a huge story?
I mean, it's like, look, we're having a conversation and tons of articles about a dog that he left behind. So, in a sense.
Yeah.
Animals are innocent.
They are, but they are.
Good point. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.